Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome. Hey there, welcome back. I'm with David T. Fagan. I am so excited to have you here, David. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so that everybody knows, David is also a guest on the Business on the Vine TV show, which will be coming out in early spring of 2025. But we wanted to get him on the show now so that we could get all of his wisdom and expertise as soon as we possibly could. So that's why you're here, David. I appreciate you coming back on again.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now in your business. I know you're a publisher, you're a publicist, you do production. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about what's happening right now.
Sure.
As we're recording this, you just had a really big event in New York, but tell us a little bit about what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So first and foremost, we are a talent management agency, and types of talent that we like to manage are people that are experts. They're in the advice business. They have a very unique set of skills and experiences. And those speakers and authors and experts that we represent, them being the talent, we really focus on three main areas: publishing, publicity, and production. And of course, what you're alluding to is one of the shows that I was an executive producer of with Lisa Nichols. We just did a Broadway show. It's very cool, very sexy, very cutting edge. It's all filmed. Now it can be sold to a place like Netflix or Amazon. But we could also break that down as simple as just saying it's content creation. Jen, it's this very similar to writing books and documentaries and hosting your own show. We have to get out and create content for people to consume, to form that relationship and to build our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also, I mean, I know it does. It also goes into not just authors and, it's funny that I'll tell you about that in a second, but, not just authors and speakers, but also, traditional business owners. It's important that their content, the message that they're saying out
Yeah,
there, attracts people. And, I think that that's a really important part of it. When you said, and I've known this for a while, top talent agency, and that work with talent. I've always said that I'm a talent scout in my
yeah,
practice
yeah.
because I hear from clients all the time, well, so and so quit, and now I have to start all over and hire people. And I'm going, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You're always a talent scout. I can't imagine a football team, not saying, oh, sorry, our quarterback got hurt. We don't have anybody else. We have to start all over. Right.
Yeah.
Um, and so I love this concept of, being this sort of talent scout, that you're looking for talent that wants to get their message bigger, broader out there. And one of the things that you and I were just talking about, and I'm going to let you say it, is how you make things simple. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that just a little bit. You've got a lot of really fun information about that.
Well, people want to hire experts, advisors, mentors, consultants who are really seen as not just the expert, but the celebrity expert, right? They are the authority in their industry, or what I like to say, the icon of their industry. And the best way to position yourself as the authority or the icon in your industry is to make complex things simple. A big part of what we do is getting people interviewed in the media. I know you've done a lot of media and big press and interviews. I've done Fox and Friends. I've done the Today Show. I mean, I've done the Today Show in Sydney, Australia. We've booked clients on lots of shows. And those shows, they don't want you to come on and complicate things furthermore. The really biggest and best shows out there, they want you to come demystify things, and they want you to make something complicated very simple. They want you to break it down. They want you to quantify it. So we like all of our experts, the talent that we represent, to really learn how to kind of take out what's in their head and get it on a screen, get it on a paper, get it into a video, get it into a book, get it into an article in a way that somebody else can kind of, oh, the light bulb goes off, right? And
Right.
they start to learn something a little bit more. And when you can do that, the way that positions you, the way that frames you, really kind of opens the door for a lot of opportunities to be not just that celebrity expert, but that high paid celebrity expert. And so, we have come up with a lot of methods and best practices, some of them being the use of visual aids, Venn diagrams, and workflow charts and checklists, so that the complicated can become more simple. And I'll kind of end this with saying that, if you think about a franchise, Jen, which I know you do a lot because you love systems and you love,
Yeah.
predictable processes, that's all really a franchise is. It's a proven business model that's a series of checklists and diagrams and workflow charts, and it's all proven. And so somebody who wants to go open this successful business, they're not guessing, right? They're not reinventing the wheel. They have a process and series of systems. And what's the best way to deliver that? Well, through visual aids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, gosh, as you're talking about it, it's not only for, the franchise, but if you want to scale your business, you have to have
Yeah,
all of these, these are standard operating procedures, but also
yeah,
combined with the visual aids to help people understand. But I know, even in my previous line of work, right, in financial services, we always had some kind of diagram to explain how things happen. And as you were talking about it, I was
absolutely.
thinking, gosh, if, whenever I have an HVAC guy come in and he starts talking his language, I'm just like, oh, whatever, just I'll pay for it. I don't know what's happening. I just want the air to be cold, right? But how much more powerful would it be if that person had a diagram that explains to me how things flow? So as
Right.
so that they would make it simple for someone like me as a woman who doesn't know the technical mechanics behind that, and that makes them a celebrity. That makes people want to feel compelled
Yeah.
to tell everyone about them. And I love that. And I love your Venn diagrams. I've
Oh, yeah.
explored them several times and I am reminded, oh yeah, that's where that genius zone is. And how that complexity happens. Okay. So what are you looking for right now in your practice to grow looking forward into 2025? Are you looking for new people who want to do books? Are you looking for people that want more publicity? Where is your heart drawing you?
Yeah. Well, it's really film, film projects. We've had a couple of our books, sorry, we had a couple of our clients had their books turned into films. One of them was a Peacock original with A-list actors and actresses. That was a lot of fun. We have a documentary in the works for Bloomberg TV, that we did in Kenya. And books are great. They're never going to be replaced. Websites, visual aids. I mean, there's all these different mediums and ways to communicate, song, music, but there's really nothing that will trump the power of video and watching something on a screen, whether it's a small screen of your phone or a big screen in a theater. We're looking forward to getting more and more to film. Like even Jen, my personal passion, like it would be to make films, right? It just combines all of my passions, all of my talents, to write, direct, create an experience. We're really in the experience economy. There's some great books about that. One, decades ago that I'm sure you know of called The Experience Economy. And places like Disneyland and movie theaters and Starbucks, like they get it. They're in that experience economy and they're working to create a magical experience, right? A memorable experience. And I think that a lot of people, whether they're businesses or business owners or parents or teachers, or I mean, just we all kind of need to create that experience for people, that life-changing conversation, that opportunity to learn, to grow. So visual aids can do that. A lot of things can do that. But I look forward to getting into more and more of the highest level of inspiration, entertainment, and a magical experience, which is really film. And it can be documentaries, it can be featured, it can be inspiring stories based on a true story, right? It can also
Yeah.
just be, straight up fiction as a way to motivate the masses, so to speak.
Yeah. I love that. So talk to us a little bit about the business owner who's listening to this or watching this and saying, okay, so you want to go into films, but I don't even want to get on a video for my
Right,
business.
right,
Right.
right.
So where are the baby steps in this for a business that's afraid to get on video, but they know that they've got to modernize, their practice in order to stay, ahead of the curve?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say that you as a business owner do not have to be the one on camera. I mean, people have spokespeople. Lots of business owners, know the power of storytelling, and there's a way to sort of tell these stories that are important in their business without them being the one on camera. So first and foremost, just know that it doesn't have to be you. Sometimes it's more powerful if it's not. It can kind of elevate you. For the rest of you who, are maybe interested and curious, but just a little bit scared, there's a lot of training available that we provide and other people as well to kind of get over those fears, learn how to talk in sound bites and segments. And there's a lot of opportunity where film and business owners are coming together. So I'm not saying, you're going to create the next sci-fi thriller. Hopefully your business, isn't a horror film, although I could make a lot of jokes about that as well. The
Right.
idea here is just to kind of get behind the scenes and create montages and really help people understand, what it is that you do in a very engaging way. The term infotainment has been around for a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's things that are very informational, then there's things that are very entertaining. It can kind of become infotainment. Lisa Nichols, who we've been working a lot with, she trademarked the term transfotainment. So it's transformational entertainment, transfotainment.
Right. Right.
So, you don't have to be this wildly charismatic personality with the right director and the right script and the right people involved, and sometimes it's your clients. I mean, heck, just let us interview the success stories of your clients and tell their stories. That might even be more powerful than you being on camera. So there's
Yeah.
more than one way to get the message out in baby steps without triggering some, you know,
Fear.
need to take acting classes. Okay.
Right, right, right. Right. I love that. I love it. So from a publicity perspective, tell us a little bit about what you do for people from in the publicity specific world. So if a business owner is watching this and saying, I think I do need to kind of step into this, and maybe I don't want to do video right now, but what could David do for me for publicity?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people heard the word publicity, sometimes even public relations, and it has a certain
Mm.
kind of trigger and it
Yeah.
kind of becomes sort of semantics. And when they think of publicity, they think of, oh, a TV interview or, oh, media interviewing me. But really, when you think of publicity, I want you to think of influence, credibility, and exposure.
Hmm.
How
Like,
might you be positioned in the world? How
mhm.
might you be positioned in the world that makes you more influential, more credible, and gets you more exposure? And so we think about it not just in the term of media outlets, but like being on the board of directors or advisors could position you really well.
Mhm.
Winning awards. You've won a lot of awards. You've earned certain titles. You are Dame Lady Jen Du Plessis, right? That's great PR. That is great publicity for you. I know you don't do it for that reason, but that's great publicity for you. So it can be speaking on stages, being on panels, right? It can be hosting your own show. It can be speaking on stages that are very small in the sense that they're just very qualified, successful, multimillionaire type people, or it could be speaking on stages where there's thousands of people and no one there could afford your services. But being on stage with a sea of people in front of you, hearing you and feeling that could position you really well. So we spend
Yeah.
a lot of time helping people understand, and we actually have a checklist of 15 things that really qualify you to be a greater influencer and more credible. And we have kind of this checklist we go through. And, there's ways to kind of get outside the box, and outside the box isn't even outside the box enough anymore. And sometimes people just need to get back in the box for that matter. They never even did the
Yeah.
things in the box. There's no need to get outside the
Right,
box. Yeah.
right. Well, hey, when I took the 15 questions, I did the 15
Yeah.
questions. There were some things I'm like, whoa, I can't be a 10 in that area because I do it, but not all the way. So sometimes
Yeah.
before we go out of the box, you're right. We have to, kind of stand our ground.
Yeah.
And I call it acres of diamonds, right? We
Yeah.
have them right underneath us. Or these acres of
Yeah. And
diamonds right underneath us. We have to work them harder.
absolutely. And even once you do it, great. You got to keep doing it to really stay relevant.
Yeah,
I meet people all the time and they're like, I was on Oprah. And it's like, when was that? 1987. It's like, okay,
right.
well, let's 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 take it to the next level.
Right.
Let's refresh that a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to think about, your bio, your resume. Imagine somebody asked you the question, give me 10 reasons why someone would hire you.
Mhm.
Give me 10 reasons why somebody would listen to you.
Mhm.
Typically, the answers to those questions is the accomplishments and achievements that position you, as the celebrity expert, as the icon in your industry. And a lot of those things kind of can be used as publicity, or they are obtained through publicity.
Yeah.
What shows have you been entered on? What things have you been featured in? What awards have you won? What contests have you won? Be winning contests can be really good as well.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. I love that. And I think, thank you for just clarifying the difference between, well, not even really the difference between PR and publicity, but your perspective on what that really means. And it's not a press release that no one's going to see.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
something quite different.
yeah, I mean, if somebody comes to me and I'm starting to look at their life, it's like, wow, you've done a lot of giving, you've done a lot of serving. Let's nominate you for the President's Lifetime Achievement Award out of the White
Mhm.
House, right?
Mhm.
Or somebody else comes to me and it's like, hey, I wrote these books and I'm an expert on such and such. And a lot of times people they're too close to it, right? So they don't even see how that can be used. It's like, oh my goodness, you need to go speak at Harvard. You need to guest lecture at a university.
Yeah,
There's speaking on stages, that's good, but then there's guest lecturing at UCLA. I can
yeah,
tell you, I did a lot of speaking, but none of it adds up to as much as saying, hey, I guest lectured at UCLA, or I guest lectured at Kenyatta in Nairobi, Kenya, that has 70,000 students and 5,000 were in the audience. By saying that, how does that position me? And how does it separate me from everybody else?
yeah,
Why you? There's all these people out there, and I know that we don't want to focus too much on competition, but there's only so many spots for a stage. There's only so many spots of people that can be interviewed, and you've got to explain why you, and these accomplishments and achievements and past publicity could be what wins you the next job, the next interview, the next speaking opportunity.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about even the local businesses, there's an annual awards dinner, or you're the best of, a town or something like that. And I think that they're like, oh yeah, it's good. We kind of want to, but you have to really push that out there. If no one else is, I mean, it's called You Incorporated, right? If no one
Right,
else is going to do it, you have to do it. You
right,
have to talk
right,
about yourself.
right.
And it's not boasting, it's just telling everyone where you come from and what you're bringing to the
Yeah,
table. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
Let me give you one other example to get kind of clever too. It's like, who are you sharing the stage with? Meaning,
Mhm.
who's speaking before you, who's speaking after you, who's speaking at that event. I've shared the stage with a lot of really cool people, but you also want a diverse group of people. So I can say, hey, I've shared the stage with everybody from Mark Victor Hansen to, and this becomes the more powerful thing, former Secretary of Defense Bob Gates,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, like, who are the mayors? Who are the politicians? Who are the leaders? And those people you've quote unquote shared the stage with. If you take all the things that we're talking about, it starts to put together a very impressive bio. And a lot of times people don't realize that the publicity is designed to raise your profile and improve that bio, that resume of yours, so that when you are working for that next job, you're saying, hey, I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging, I'm applying for a job, right? I want to be your
Yeah.
fill in the blank, right?
Hmm.
So in that job interview type scenario, people expect you to say, and it's okay for you to say, why you? because I've
Yeah.
won this award. I've been on this
That's
stage.
what
I've
a
been featured
resume
on this
does,
show.
right? I can't imagine a resume saying, "Oh, don't ask me to tell you anything about what I know." That would be kind of
Of course
crazy.
not. Of
Yeah.
course not.
I love that. Okay, so what kind of events do you have coming up, David? I know that you and I were talking I don't know, a week ago or whatever, and we're both working on our 2025,
Yeah.
planning and even 2026. I'm already out to 2026, but
Oh,
what
wow.
do
You're
you have
impressive.
coming up? I know. Well, some of them are rinse and repeat. So
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good point. Good
so
point.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
get them on the calendar for the next year.
yeah.
And so what are some of the events that are coming up that people might want to be involved in or
Yeah.
watch or participate?
So we produce big online broadcasts that go across quite a few platforms. In the past, we've, Think and Grow Rich and the Neuroscience Summit and the Money Forum. And we just did a big Trailblazer event, 4 or 5 months ago. And in that series of broadcasts, the next one will be the Genius event, this global genius event where people will talk about what their genius is and how to find your genius and tap into your genius and accelerate your genius. And that's February 4th through the 6th, 2025. We also have an event that's been an annual event in the summer called PubPubCon, and it's a publishing and publicity conference that we dubbed PubPubCon,
Oh,
and
that's
we're doing it in
I
Vegas. We
actually have never
usually,
heard of that one with you.
oh really?
Yeah, I've
Oh
never heard
yeah,
of
yeah,
Con.
yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. So Lake Las Vegas, the Hilton over there, the Marriott. We usually get one of those hotels over there. But yeah, it's really grown. And like you said, this kind of stuff is valuable for all kinds of businesses. And we're starting to see not just personalities and influencers and people in the advice business, but Tyler's Coffee, Loomland, furniture,
Yeah.
Newcom, these different companies, Trade Genie, these companies where, yeah, maybe there's a person that's a spokesperson, but they're really selling more of a product. They're not really a
Mhm.
speaker, author, expert. They're selling a product, but they need to get out and talk about their company. And we're even attracting people like that want to know, hey, what could I publish? How could I get more publicity for my company? Even brick and mortar type places. So yeah, that'll be coming out this summer. We're working on the exact dates right now. Pubpubcon.com. We'll have updates on that website. But yeah, those are a couple of the events that we're really excited about. We're always doing these JV events where we bring a lot of people together and give everybody a chance to talk and introduce themselves, put people in breakout sessions. I know you've been to a few of those.
Mhm.
So yeah, we've got some fun stuff, and probably the one that we've gotten the most press for and even recognition from the UN is our Kenya keynote tour. And so we've gone to Kenya 5 times in the last 3 years. I'm actually going back there again in a couple weeks. But we take speakers around to universities. We do service projects. We meet with senators and governors and parliament. We do press conferences. And I bring these experts over there to help support them and kind of explain to them what some of our solutions are in our part of the world and what cutting edge things, our speakers and authors or experts are doing to solve big problems and to share those solutions with them and brainstorm and heartstorm and mastermind and joint venture. So the next one of those is coming up April 21st through the 29th. We'll be going back to Kenya, and that's always a rewarding one.
And we will have all of the links to that in the show notes so that you don't have to
Okay,
write all that down. Yeah, because if you want to get involved in that, you definitely want to get a hold of David now because it's
great.
limited spots. It's not that everybody
Yeah,
can go, it kind of dilutes it if everybody's there. So
right.
yeah, I love
Well,
that
there's
you're
just not enough time either. I mean, when we go speak at these
yeah.
universities, we can't interrupt their classes, for 2 days. So we got a
Right,
couple
right,
hours, and so we
right.
have to.
Rotating
Sure.
speakers
Yeah.
around, yeah, and stuff like that. I love it. I love it. Okay, any parting thoughts you'd like to give to us?
Yeah, I think that people, especially at the end of a year, beginning of a year, they're thinking about goals, they're thinking about things they want to accomplish.
Mhm,
And I would just tell you to maybe throw out a lot of your long-term goals and just start to think about power plays. What can I do in 3 to 6 weeks to make money or get results?
mhm.
And I would even start to think about what I would call force multipliers. What's something you can do that once you've done it, everything else gets easier? Like once I was on the Today Show, everything got easier. Once I got a few big clients and success stories, everything got easier. Once I won this award, everything got easier. There's a lot of force multipliers can be power plays that can get you a certain kind of result that you can easily leverage, and then everything else gets easier. So start to collapse timeframes and go from, hey, what do I want to do next year, to what do I want to do next week?
Yeah.
What do I want to do today? And I have something called the perfect day, and we'll talk about that another time. But I really think the perfect day is possible. And you start to get some wins and you start to get very intentional about what do I need to do today to make it a perfect day. And you start stringing together these perfect days. So many opportunities will open up, so many of the right conversations will come into play. And all of a sudden, you're doing things that you never thought were possible because you're forcing yourself to have deadlines and accountabilities in shorter amounts of time. And that's where someone like Jen can come into play, that can kind of help you see the things that maybe you don't see. But just get rid of the 3 year, 5 year, 10 year goals. Even 1 year can be kind of far out. Like really start to think about, what can I do like right now, right away?
I love that. I absolutely love that. And believe me, and it's funny. I think I've mentioned to you before, I love goals, but I don't love goals. When I talk to my clients, I'm like, anytime you tell me that you want to make 500,000 or $1 million, you're actually setting yourself up for possible failure, because if your goal
Yes.
is to have 100 clients this year and by June you have 70, then human nature says, well, I only need 30 more. If you only have 30, then a lot of people quit on their goals. Well, I
Yep.
can't make my goals. And it was all because you put a number out there. And I think it's more important to focus on the activities that you're doing, like the power play, right? The perfect day, the intentional work that
Yeah.
you're doing every day,
Yeah.
to get to where you want to go. So yeah, I love that you said that. That's wonderful. Thank you. That was brilliant. Well, again, thank you so much, David, for being here with us today and being on Business on the Vine on the TV show. So everyone, please be looking out for that. We'll keep you apprised of when that comes out and when it gets released, so
Yeah.
that you can see another aspect of what David does in his business. So with that, we say thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you,
Thank
David.
you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the Vine, so keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.